Welcome to the virtual battle map basic tutorials. I'm going to try to get some, easy to follow instructions here, because we've had a few people asking how to use the 3D tools better without using programs like Maya or Unity 3D. It's kind of hard to think in 3D space. So this tutorial we're just going to go over the camera. There you go. New DLC out, Space Dungeons. Love it. So here in the main menu it says welcome and then our Steam name. If for some reason Steam is having an issue, it will say welcome and then just player there. And things will act funny. Generally that's an issue with Steam. It just means you probably need to update it or it's not signing in properly. Just restart your computer. Also, I've heard that it says that you don't have the DLC if that happens. And it's not just Virtual Battle Map, it's all games on Steam. If they have a connection issue with Steam, it just kind of messes it up. So we can start building. We've got Open Prints folder. What that does is it opens a folder that we've exported our map images to. So if we want to print them or upload them and just use them online or stuff like that, then there's Open Maps folder. So this is so you can take the map files that you've saved and you can share them, give them to your buddies, put them on a USB stick so you don't lose them if your computer messes up. And then there's a View Available DLC, which just brings up Steam and a list of the DLCs available. So each DLC is different. There's the main virtual battle map is all dungeon-based tiles, and there's tons of options. You can just build unlimited maps with it. But the DLC is like towns, landscapes. Here's a space dungeon, caves. So there are a lot of different kinds available. I also like to mention the commercial license. It's just a license that you can purchase from Steam that allows you to use the images you export from here in modules that you sell. Also, you can take pictures of, or actually exports of the maps that you've built from different angles, and you can use them in books or projects that you're doing for like scenery or to set up the stage for what the characters are going to encounter. Again, if you get the commercial license, that can be used for resale in places like RPG Now and stuff like that. So here we've got a little help card, and I suggest just moving it to the side, viewing it while you're using it for the first little while, because it's got all of the information on it. How to use the camera, how to use the object preview system, and editing mode. Also down here it just kind of gives you an overview of how this bottom GUI system works, and then down at the very bottom here it shows you how to do your exporting. So we've got print quality exporting and number pad, which is the web quality. So the F buttons are just above your number keys, and the number pad to the right of your keyboard. If you're on a laptop you may not have it, but that allows you to export web quality. So print quality is super high quality, 300 dpi. It actually exports it at 72 dpi, but the image is large enough that when you set it to print, it will actually compress to 300 dpi, and the print will be amazing. Web quality is exported at 72 dpi, which is what you see on your monitor. So uploading to Roll20 and Map Tools and other programs like that, you'd want to stick with the web quality so that it shares faster with other people playing. Alright, so once you're in the project here, if you left click, not too much happens. However, if you right click and hold it down, you're free to look around. So here's the building area, and you can see these little colored squares. Each colored square represents a different export size. So as you can see, maps can be built in like a widescreen kind of format, just like the D&D and Pathfinder maps you get. When you unfold them, you've got like 20-something squares across, and so many squares up and down. It's the same here. So if we were to export now using the F1 or numpad 1 key, it would export just everything inside this yellow line. So it makes a tinier map. If we were to use the F2 or numpad 2 key, it would export everything inside this red line. So you'd see it would get everything in here and everything in here. That way you can make larger maps. Now, I would not suggest making huge maps to start. It can get pretty daunting putting in detail and making everything look good. So I'd start with just this little yellow square here, build a small map and export it. Virtual battle map's made for encounters. So you build your encounter map where you want to do your battle, and you would export it and use it. It's not meant for making a giant world map on just this one area for exporting. I mean, you can, but I don't know, it's just not made for that. So now if you hold down the mouse wheel, you pan from side to side, and that panning is based on how your camera is looking. So you can also zoom in and out using the scroll wheel. Now if you want to control the camera with the keys, you can use the C button to go down. And of course we're going down based on where the camera is looking. So if we're looking straight ahead, it's straight down. If we're looking kind of on an angle, it kind of goes back and down. To go up, you just use the space bar. So C for down, space bar for up. The tab button changes to edit mode, but that's something we'll probably look into more later. You'll see down here there's a little box that changes whether we're in edit mode or not. You can also just click it to change it. So in an edit mode, it lets you change, copy, delete, paste, select a bunch of stuff, and just edit where it is and rotate it instead of just placing it. So when you're not in edit mode, you're building, and when you're in edit mode, you're editing what you've already built. There's also a top-down mode, which was requested by our users, where it goes straight up and down. O button to do that. And then once you're in that mode, the W moves it forward, D moves it to the right, C will move it down just like it did before, but in this view, down is actually just straight down, and then space for up. So with this, you can actually move to any spot on the map and pretty much export anything. And again, if you use the 9 keys like F9 or just numpad 9, it'll export exactly what you're looking at. So right now, if I exported this, it would be exactly what's on my screen, and that's what would be exported. It would not export the GUI, it would not export any little helper tools or anything like that. So it's a useful way, and again, scrolling up and down just goes in and out. It's a useful way for making your own maps. Export exactly where you want them to. Also down in this bottom left hand corner, you'll see 11.6 or whatever number. That's actually the height you are from the floor or ground in here. So if you're taking a bunch of different screenshots and you're going to part them together later to make a larger map of higher quality, you can just check where you are. So here we're zoomed in at 4.4. I can do an export there. We can move over and do another export, and then I can come back later and I can make sure that I'm at 4.4 for exporting, and it will be at the exact same height. We've also got show and hide the interface, which really isn't too much to do with the camera. But if you hit the I button, it removes the interface just so you can see things better, how they would look exported. Again, hit I again to bring your interface back. You can also show and hide the building pad with the backslash. Right now it just goes white because we don't have anything on the screen, but if we had a dungeon there, it would show up just kind of white around it. And that can also be changed with the lighting system. So if we made it dark in here, and now you've got a space background. Alright, and you can also rotate in the top-down view. So let's get our base back here. Let's give us some light again. And the arrows, right and left arrows, let you spin and rotate around one fine point. So if you're taking a screenshot and it's not just lining up perfectly because you moved the camera, you got full control. Alright, and that ends the camera move tutorial. Next we'll be moving on to object preview.